Hi everyone, it's me, Chat's Web, and today we're going to be reading chapter 22 of Lost in the Book. So without further ado, let's get started. Belle, my darling girl, you've come back, the Countess exclaimed, delighted. She was sitting in an open-topped futon in front of her mansion. Four black stallions, snorting and pawing, were harnessed to the graceful carriage. Lamps blazed brightly on both sides of the staircase, illuminating the night. What perfect timing! I'm on my way to Paris, to the Palais Royal. Join me? She said, waving Belle over. Paris, Belle echoed. But how? This isn't real, it's only a story. One that I'm writing it, as I told you before, the Countess said, pointing her fan at Belle. Would you like your story to include Paris? Belle nodded. It was too much to hope for. The Countess smiled. Then it will. Now climb in, my darling girl. My horses are impatient creatures. The Palais Royal, Belle thought, her heart dancing. She'd heard of it. Who hadn't? It was the most exciting palace. It was the most exciting place in all of Paris. Everyone who was anyone strolled its courts or sat in its cafes, writers and philosophers, professors and princesses, circus girls and opera singers. Belle had stepped through Nevermore and into the grounds of the Countess's estate only moments ago. Moonlight had illuminated the gravel drive, and as Belle had hurried up it, she had seen that the roses dotting the estate had grown bushier in her absence, and the yew trees taller. In some places, the yews had grown together so thickly that they made solid hedges. Char opened the carriage door now. Belle skirted around one of the stone lions at the bottom of the steps, and Monchard helped her up. After the two women shared a quick embrace, Belle sat down across from the Countess, fluffing her skirts around her. Once again, she found herself dressed perfectly for the occasion, this time in a sky-blue gown, springed with white flowers. A length of delicate white lace was knotted around her shoulders. Her hair was gathered in a loose, cascading ponytail. The Countess herself was dressed in a gown of black satin with an embroidered black silk wrap around her shoulders. Several strands of flawless black pearls circled her throat. She's always in black. She must be a widow, Belle thought. Off we go, the Countess said, rapping on the side of the carriage with her silver-topped walking stick. Monchard hopped up next to the driver, and the carriage rolled down the drive and out of the gates. The Countess's estate was just outside Paris, and it wasn't long before they were in the city's bustling heart. Flickering street lamps cast their glow over elegant mansions, stately townhouses, and manicured squares. Well-dressed people strolled the streets. Restaurants and cafes were lit up. Music spilled out of their doors. Even though it was late, Paris was noisy alive and captivating, so much so that Belle's frustration with the beast, her loneliness, and her sadness were soon forgotten. Paris, the Countess said dreamily. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it, is there? It's breathtaking, said Belle. Thank you so much for bringing me here. You're too good to me. Why, Belle wondered. Oh, why? Belle wondered. Why is she so good to me? She was about to ask, but before she could, the Countess spoke. It makes me happy to make you happy, Belle, she said. I'm sure the palace will be highly entertaining tonight. I'm told there's a fire eater newly arrived from Delhi and a sword swallower from Budapest. You'll love them. Tell me, have you ever seen have you ever been here before? Belle shook her head. No, she started to say, but the Countess barely let her get a word in. No, she exclaimed, clutching her pearls. My child, we must get you out more. You're in for a treat. It used to be a king's palace. Now it's a pleasure garden, with theaters, shops, and cafes, actors, acrobats, musicians. They all perform in the center courtyard. It's spectacular. Ah, here we are now. Monsieur jumped down and was on the sidewalk as the carriage stopped ready to hand the woman down. The palace, all pillars, pediments, and airy galleries, took Belle's breath away. The Countess led her through an arched entryway, down a long colonnade. Belle was captivated by the beautiful boutiques that greeted them, selling everything from shoes and stubbed selling everything from shoes stubbed with pearls to cakes topped with gold leaf to books sporting jeweled covers. As they strolled, the Countess leaned in close to Belle. Do you see that woman over there? She whispered, nodding at a lady in a crimson dress. She's from Vienna. Rumor has it she spies for the Austrian queen and keeps a pistol in her garner. Belle's eyes shone with excitement. Do you think we can meet her? She asked. I shall arrange it, the Countess replied. She nodded at an elderly woman with a black eye patch and a monkey on her shoulder. She's one of the wealthiest women in France. Made her fortune smuggling rum. The Countess led Belle to a stylish cafe. They were seated outside near a row of flowering crabapple trees and giant terracotta pots. Candles flickered on every table. A waiter arrived immediately, bearing porcelain cups as thin as eggshells. He poured coffee into them, then set a plate of sweets on the table. Among them there were small pink tea cakes with candied rose petals on top, marzipan hearts with sugared violets, candied chestnuts, cream puffs, tiny custard tarts. Belle thought them almost too pretty to eat. How divine, the Countess said, her fingers hovering over the plate. Sorry, excuse me about that. Just a second. Belle, you must eat every one to keep me from doing so. Belle chose a tea cake. As she popped it into her mouth, the Countess said, Is that all? You'll waste away. Do have some more. The Countess herself selected a tiny mille fruity. Its brittle layers shattered as she bit into it. Licking pastry shards from her red lips, she said, That man there. Her eyes darted to an elegant gentleman wearing several large jeweled rings. He's an Italian count. A Borgia, my dear. Diabolically charming, but never ever accept an invitation to dinner. And the woman next to him, the one wearing far too much rouge, as the Countess continued to gossip, Belle listened raptly, fascinated by the exotic people all around her and the lives of intrigue and mystery they lived. The balmy night, the graceful palais the elegant cafe. They were all so lovely. So far, Paris was everything that tiny provincial village was not, and Belle adored it. "I'm having such fun chatting with you, Belle, truly," the Countess said. "I hope you're enjoying yourself too." "Enjoying myself?" said Belle, laughing. "Madame Comtesse, this is exactly what I needed." The Countess leaned back in her chair and looked up at the night sky, smiling at the twinkling stars. "Your parents lived very near here when they were young. Did you know that?" she asked. "In a tiny garret apartment. I met them years ago. I met you, too." "Did you? Oh, you did? When?" Belle asked. Surely she would recall meeting someone as grand and glamorous as the Countess, but she couldn't. "It was a long time ago," the Countess said, training her gaze on Belle again. "You were only a baby in your mother's arms." Belle looked at the Countess wonderingly. "You were friends, you and my mother?" she asked. The Countess smiled. "Indeed. I am a great admirer of your father's work, you see, and I have acquired many of his music boxes over the years." The Countess' smile turned wistful. "I was with her at the very end, you know. Mine was the last face she ever saw." "But my father, I thought he," Belle started to say. "Oh, he was there too. Of course he was," the Countess assured Belle. "We both were." "He doesn't like to talk about her," Belle said. "Oh, he doesn't like to talk about her," Belle said, dropping her gaze. She smiled sadly. "It's always been too painful for him. You miss him very much, don't you?" "I do," Belle said. "How was my world and I was, oh, sorry. He was my world and I was his." "Your mother felt the same way," the Countess said. "She loved him very much." "What was she like, my mother?" Belle asked, hungry to learn about the woman she'd never known. "Kind, smart, beautiful, just like you," the Countess said. "I liked her very much, and I know she would be distraught if she'd lived to see what's happened to you." She paused for a few seconds, her eyes seeking Belle's, then said, "Which is why I did it." Belle cocked her head, puzzled. "Why you did what, my lady?" "Why I sent you nevermore." And that is the end of chapter 21. Stay tuned for chapter 23. This is Charlotte, like Charlotte's Web. Thank you for watching. Leave any likes and feel free to subscribe, and have a good rest of your day. Bye. Stay tuned for more. Bye.